welcome to this planning preview session for the January 3rd Planning Commission meeting, which will be held at Carnegie Town Hall at 6 o'clock at night. I'm here with Jeff Schmidt from the Planning Office, and as always, we'd like to just go over the items that are going to be listed on the agenda for that Planning Commission meeting. Jeff, just to get started, it's the holiday season and people are shopping and buying more than probably what we need. But how has the retail market, or what does the retail market look like for the next year? Do you see a lot of significant changes taking place?
It's going to be interesting to see. You know, everybody's waiting to see what the reviews are. You know, how does December come in? But even besides that, I think it's interesting from a planning commission standpoint. We've seen a lot of commercial come in. A lot of big commercial projects come in. 2017 shows the interest that there's a lot of, in Sioux Falls, you know, a lot of commercial activity coming in. You know, we can't necessarily say anything until projects are in front of us, but on the agendas, we have a lot of C2, a lot of C3 projects that people want to be in Sioux Falls. So as much as the media talks about everything's moving away and nobody wants to shop anymore, there's a lot of shopping activities in Sioux Falls.
Well, there's a lot of shopping activity, but there's also just a lot of transition and change of properties that are converting to new retail or commercial type space, which is great. It's just a great improvement to the community.
And I think, again, as the economy continues and the synergy continues, you're not seeing a lot of vacancies. You're seeing the transitions. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people coming to Sioux Falls. There's a lot of employment in Sioux Falls. So whether they're shopping in Sioux Falls or they're shopping online, I think the retail market's still very strong. There's obviously a lot of employment needed because these people are working in the service industry. Yeah. So that's always good to see. But, you know, looking at 17, everybody's going to be dependent upon what happens right here at the holiday season, which is why it's so interesting to talk about. But we'll see.
Well, good. Well, we're going to start with the items that are currently on the agenda, but as always, things can change, and if you have any questions or concerns about any of the items that we go over, please feel free to contact the planning office anytime with those questions. The first item on the agenda is a rezone from agriculture to Livework residential combination on 57th and Southeastern Avenue.
Yeah, this one's been on the agenda for a while, and we may have talked about it, but we talked about it previously, but I wanted to keep it on because we think it's going to move forward this month. This is the southeast corner, and it's the farmstead, the horse farm there. So again, this Livework on the south corner is really the ability for them to do offices or apartments, or combined, and then transition to twin homes, townhomes before they get down to the single family. It seems very appropriate there. We'd like to have the public hearing. We have quite a few rezonings, so, you know, kind of taking that step back. On these rezonings, the way Planning Commission City Council looks at them is it's either or. So the rezoning is either it remains ag and it's going to remain agricultural, or does it move over to what they're proposing? So then Planning Commission would make the recommendation to City Council.
Right, sounds good. Another rezone from C3 Commercial and Conservation to C3 Commercial and Conservation, located at 3408 East 10th. So again, I always love it when I read the same thing off that it's changing too. So. And
once you see the images again on Planning Preview, it really helps because then you can see where this is at. This is the George Boom Funeral Home on the east side of town. And they are going to build a brand new establishment. So they're going to build the new establishment and remove the existing facility. So to go from CN and C3 to CN and C3, it's just because they need a bigger footprint. So depending on how the adjacent property owners, I don't know if they really have any neighbors down there.
Right.
But yeah. Okay.
Well, that'll make sense again when you have the images on the screen. That'll help out. Another rezone from Conservation and RA Apartment to the Conservation and RA Apartment on West 69th and east of South Beale Avenue.
So now again, as Andy's alluded to, people are going, so why are these? It's a legal requirement. If you're going to change the zoning, you have to go to Planning Commission and City Council. On this one, they came in, they said, we'd like to do apartments, and here's where our drainage pond's going to be. Now, if you've been down there on 69th Street, they've sculpted the ground, they've started to put their ponds in, but based upon taking care of all the drainage, the pond area has really been put in place. They have to do the final zoning to make sure that where the apartments are going to be and where the drainage is going to be is accurate. So the legal description has been set now in final, so they have to come back and set that legal boundary.
And another rezone from C2 and RD1 to the Livework to allowed forms east of South Spring Avenue and South Minnesota Avenue.
This one is Livework. We mentioned already what Livework is. It gives the property owner the ability to either have people living there or working there, or vice versa. They can go up and down or sideways. And it is on the west side of Minnesota Avenue, just north of the new Slim Pickens, the new fast food restaurant. Yeah. So it hasn't been built yet, the restaurant, but to the north there's some existing single-family homes in this RD1, and that property owner wants to have Livework and have the ability to, again, have higher density.
I don't think it's Slim Pickens, but
It's
I
something like
think
that.
we have.
Yeah, slim something. Yeah.
All right. Another rezone from C2 commercial, apartment residential, office, and ag to, again, the C2 commercial, live, work, and combination thereof, located at Southeastern Avenue and 69.
This is an area that's really starting to change, and if you've been down there recently, a lot of activity. 69th and Southeastern has a lot of housing units, and one of the things I always talk about is when you get utilities in an area, water, sewer, storm sewer, roads, then everything else starts getting raised up, farmed up. So you have all the homes down there now. You have the offices starting to come in. You have a new school down there. Now they're starting to look at what commercial and office, what employment needs to go in. So they're starting to rezone the southeast corner, and I would expect soon the northeast corner and the southwest corner to soon follow.
Right, and that's really how our community grows. I mean, it really is where the
Yes.
sewer capacity is located, and once you have that in place, it just
Expands.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, we're going to switch gears to a preliminary subdivision plan for Aspen Heights Addition, north of West Madison Street and west of North Valley View Road.
Preliminary subdivision plans are the next stage. With the rezonings, the preliminary plans show the lot and block layouts and how they're going to get their utilities, their water, their sewer. But it's just preliminary. It's not their construction drawings. So on this one at Madison and Valley View, there's already houses up there, twin homes, apartments. They're doing the remaining phase, or I wouldn't say the last phase up there, but they're doing an additional phase to the west along Madison and Valley View and showing how they're going to develop that.
All right, and another preliminary subdivision plan for Maple Rock Addition, located southeast corner of Southeastern Avenue and 69.
And this is the preliminary subdivision plan for the rezoning we had previously.
All right, now we're going to switch to initial development plans for S2 institutional, allowed forms at 1321 West Dalrymple Street.
In our zoning ordinance, we have these large institutional campuses throughout Sioux Falls. So they're S2, and when they want to start doing developments, they bring in their entire campus master plans, which we call their initial development plan. Then once Planning Commission, City Council does their initial development plans, then at that point they can bring forward basically their building footprints, their final plans to get a building permit, as long as they're in compliance with what Planning Commission, City Council's already approved. So Dalrymple, existing facility already in town, but they're getting ready to move forward and do some other expansion. They'll bring in their initial plan, their master plan for how this is going to be built out, and then they'd be able to move forward with building plans.
And as long as it's in compliance, like you
Yes.
said, and if it isn't in compliance, they
come back and do an amendment to their initial development plan. So there's still public hearings at that point, but this is the public hearing to allow them to do construction.
Right. All right, we have a conditional use permit for on-sale alcohol within 500 feet of a sensitive land use located at 3404 South Marion Avenue. Why don't you just refresh people's memory in case they don't remember what 500 feet of a sensitive use is? For example, a church, school.
Church, school, or single-family home. Again, so we didn't list those, but we tried to make it understandable to people that it's a sensitive use, something that people are going to be sensitive to and go, well, is that really appropriate next to? Well, it's sensitive. So this is on the southeast corner of Marion and 41st Street. There's an existing retail area there, and a tenant is going to vacate and a new tenant's going in there and they want to do on-sale alcohol. And again, on-sale is they're drinking it at the establishment. Off-sale is they're going to buy a package and remove it off. So they're going to drink it there, but they're within 500 feet of a sensitive use. And when I looked at the map, and you can see it here too, it's not even on this block, it's behind to the southeast. There's some single family homes. If they were 1,000 feet away, you'd get a building permit, you'd finish it, because everything would be surrounded by commercial. But since they're within 500 feet, on conditional uses, we have a public hearing. The property owners, citizens are able to come out, look at it, see if there's any conditions that are appropriate. But at the same time, we don't discriminate against anybody. If it's good for one, it's good for the other. So we have to basically allow that the conditions could be enforced and for everybody in the community.
And we have another conditional use permit for offsite parking located at 909 North Kiwanis.
We rezoned this last month or maybe 2 months ago. I can't remember. It's gone through the process. But it's a commercial site on Kiwanis and up by Madison. So this auto service facility is going to have off-site parking. It's not going to be necessarily on their property. And so they need a conditional use, again, to do it off their parking area.
And a conditional use permit in the RE1 form for extended hours of operation for a retail business at 6501 West 41st.
This one's a little different. I won't call if you have more questions, but it's on West 41st Street, almost to Sertoma. RE1 is our smallest commercial district. They're building a really small retail. It's for a pizza delivery location, but they're going to the facility will be closed down prior to the hours of operation that they really have listed here. But since they're still going to be open with because they're going to clean up after there. So they're coming in for conditional use for the hours of operation because there'll still be people in the building. So they need a conditional use for the hours of retail for a retail business, but we don't want to mislead people and say that we're running a business 24 hours a day.
It's not actual operation of the retail
Correct.
side of it, so
Yes.
that's where the confusion can come in.
Yep. And again, come to the public meeting, inquire about it, but that's what it's for. And then it's for this. The conditional uses are for these types of things. So then if this closes and go away, they'd have to start all over if something else came in too.
Right. It's attached only to that business at that time.
Yep.
And we have an alternative site plan for street tree landscape requirements located at northeast 57th Street and east of South Hosta Avenue?
Yeah. It's an office location down the south part of town, and there's a drainage way there. The way our requirements are is they have to put a certain amount of trees and certain amount of landscaping next to these sensitive uses. But if they can't, they need to come to Planning Commission at a public hearing and show how they're going to do it as good as or better. Since it's a drainage way, you can't put landscaping and obstruct the drainage, so they're going to do it, but differently. And so it's an office area, and they'll still buffer the area.
Well, and typically when we see these alternative site plan requests, it very much makes sense. And
Yes.
again, this is the benefit of Shaped Places is it doesn't have to be in this box.
Right.
We can figure it out.
We don't say you have to put the trees here, and by the way, now you've just obstructed all the drainage. They'll go, but can we put the trees here? And we're like, yes, you still met the intent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Well, good. Well, those are the items that are currently on the agenda for the January 3rd Planning Commission meeting, again held at 6 o'clock at Carnegie Town Hall. Just a reminder, agenda items can change over the next few weeks here, so please feel free to call the planning office anytime, 367-8888. Ask for anyone there and they can help you out. And we appreciate your time. Thank you.